Welcome back to establishing and maintaining classroom management that will last you the entire year. Again, I am in my classroom in front of tip number 2. Tip number 2, I like to call the big 3. I call them the big 3 because I do believe classrooms cannot function without these big 3. The big 3 for me is class expectations, consequences, and rewards. Now, class expectations, you traditionally hear the word rules. I've since changed it from rules to class expectations. Number one, I wanted more of a positive spin or connotation to the word. And then I also wanted the students to know that it's expected of them. I'm going to teach them these expectations. We're going to practice these expectations, and I'm going to hold them accountable to these expectations. I keep 3 simple class expectations. I do talk to the students about it. We talk about, what makes a classroom feel safe, what are some things that they have experienced in their own educational journey, and kind of just get a general consensus of things that are important to them in the classroom. And then we discuss it and able to agree on 3 things. And so I keep them simple. The first one is follow directions or listen on the first time. The second one is be kind and respectful. And then the last one is do your best. If you've noticed, they're not very specific except for the first one. I try to keep them general because a lot of things can fall under these very general class expectations. So I don't have the rule, no hitting, no kicking, because that's being kind and respectful. I don't have don't quit and you have to do your work over and over. No, do your personal best. Whatever that is, I just want you to give me your best. So when students do not meet the class expectations, then we have to talk about consequences. Now, my ideas on consequences have changed. Initially, when I started out, they were very punitive. Now, I try to make sure that they have positive reinforcement, and I just give the children room to be people. I'm a person, and we are bound to make mistakes. And so when a student doesn't meet an expectation, I do not punish them. I give them a warning. Hey, you made a mistake. Hey, you didn't meet this class expectation. I tell them what class expectation they didn't meet. I explain to them what I need them to do next time. And if need be, we may even role play so they can practice. So now I'm actually teaching them how to meet the expectation instead of simply punishing them. But what after I give them that verbal or that nonverbal warning, they do not correct their behavior? This is also how I've changed. I used to do something called Safe Seat, which is part of another program where they would have to go. And again, it was still too punitive for what I wanted to accomplish now. So now I can have the Safe Place, and it's a resource from Conscious Discipline. At the Safe Places, which is what I showed you yesterday, the student does breathing, they identify their feelings, and then they do another activity that gets their mind off of it. Then I go over and we talk about what was the expectation, how they didn't meet it, what they did instead, and what they can do next time. And so we kind of process through what exactly happened. So it's not punitive. They have a choice. Students can send themselves to the Safe Place, or I can make that suggestion. Now, I will tell them, I think you need to go to the Safe Place to pull yourself together. Actually, I'll ask them because I want them to know they do have a choice. They also know if they do not take my suggestion, there are other consequences. Because if you're physically not okay, but you're choosing not to take the resource to get yourself okay, then I know I need another strategy. And at that point, I will take them to my next step, which is a buddy room. That means they will go to a nearby teacher. I'll watch them go. Usually a teacher they have a good relationship with, and that gets them out of the situation. It gets them with someone else, and they're able to process with someone else. And at that time, I call their parents. I call their parents just to keep the lines of communication open. I want the parents to know exactly what area their child is struggling in, and we can kind of dialogue on some strategies and techniques that they may use at home that could be effective for school. And I just want the parents to know exactly how their child is doing, whether their day got better after that or even if it got worse. And then, of course, if they're hurting themselves or anyone else, I will contact the office or whatever procedure it is for your school when a student is physically harming themselves or others. So far we talked about class expectations and consequences. The last of the big three is rewards. We all want some type of positive reward when we do the right thing. I do not believe in rewarding students every time they meet an expectation, but I do believe that they should get something to acknowledge that you did a good job. And so I give two main rewards. I give a class reward and I give an individual reward. The class reward is something that they all earn together, and it's something that my students earn 100% of the time. I've never taken away a class reward. It's actually they earn it. They have to earn the letters Friday. And so by the end of the week, they earn the letters Friday, and we do some type of special activity for about 20 minutes at the end of the day. The extra reward comes in and how well you put effort in doing your assignments and your behavior. The reason why I use assignments and behavior, because it depends on the child. Some children are extremely studious and their behavior is not great, or it's the reverse. And so I try to balance it out so that students can still earn something even if they're weak in another area. So our tip for this week is the big three. Make sure that you know your class expectations, consequences when students don't meet them, and rewards when they meet those expectations and do it well. Thanks again for joining me with the 5 tips of establishing and maintaining classroom management that will last you the entire year.